What's up, everybody? Welcome to my video on the artifact market. As you know, the artifact market is generally the most used way of selling arts and gun rocks, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of ridiculously high price stuff and a lot of stuff that you are just like, why is that even in there? So today I'm going to explain a little bit about the artifact market, about how to sell stuff, how to buy stuff on the artifact market, all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna start. We're just gonna go down the line here. We're gonna start with body parts. I guess we'll go to 50. This is a body part of level 50 called Nightmare. I'm gonna tell you something about body parts. Especially when they're extremely high level people, selling them is going to be nearly impossible. Just for the fact that only other level 50s can attack them, really have a chance to beat them. So when you're selling these, you should probably sell them for pretty low. This one only has 2 attrition, so that's 1,500 just to basically attack someone and have them not evade. So it's pretty expensive. So when you're selling for level 50s, I would keep the cost a little lower. When you're selling it for someone under level 30, then you can definitely increase the price because a lot of people use those to get free wins to boost their accounts. So that's what I have to say about body parts. Now we are on to medical items. Well, field medics take 80 skill to use. To be honest, typically people sell them for 10K or something like that, as these two are kind of up there. To be honest, I don't think that they're worth it. I mean, that's 1,000 HP that you can recover with 10 AP. You can recover 1,000 HP, but 10K for all that, I just don't think it's worth it. Emergency case, on the other hand, I do believe are definitely worth the price, even though obviously there's a difference between 1 AP for 20, 1 AP for 100. I think that they are a lot more useful in fame battles, because when I take an emergency case in a fame battle, I have no problem using it. But if I were to take a field medic, I would only use that if it's like a life or death situation. So I guess that concludes how I feel about Watchful Eyes. Not sure. Oh, and someone is selling them. Watchful Eyes. To be honest, I don't know too many people that buy them unless you're someone who goes full mega, in which case they would be pretty useful. But 12K for 10 games. Honestly, if you think about it, obviously the AP is different, but you could buy 10 Beanos also for the same price. Probably no, actually you could buy 12 Beanos for the same price, especially if there's one on auction like this. I'm gonna explain stuff about auction, but I definitely would not auction for a Watchful Eye. Now we get on to the really fun stuff. Me personally, I love buying new armors. I just want to take a look at these. It's a pretty nice deal here. When you're selling armors, there's going to be a lot of overpriced armors. There's going to be a lot of overpriced armors, especially if it is legendary and solid. So this right here is a extremely nice art, actually, if you can use it, of course. But when you're trying to this is also very nice. When you're trying to sell an armor, something like this is generally not going to sell, mainly because people don't really want to charge for something that maybe they could just buy you items for. I would try to sell something like this for items in shop instead of spending $100 to put it on the market and then later being disappointed. So I would just I would just keep that, maybe try to sell it for items in shop. Shinies. As you can see, there's a range of different prices. There's some that don't have full attrition. Wow, oh, this is a shiny here, basically. Better than a shiny. When you're selling a shiny, that's something else I would probably try to sell for items in shop, because I don't think someone's gonna pay 2K for a shiny. I think people underestimate purple arts, which are arts that you get from medals typically. Purple arts, because generally, I mean, it's really easy to get them. Winning 50 battles in a clan, pretty easy. Arts like this that are only 1,000 and do provide a whole bunch of really nice stuff like blind reduction, and it's solid. Those will typically sell, and it's put at a really fair price. That's something I would buy. This hardened, I really like it because it's durable. 1750 might have been a little much. I would have definitely bought it for 1500. So that's what I mainly want to say about that. So now let us switch to knife arts, melee arts. Melee arts are pretty, they're kind of a dime a dozen, to be honest with you. Poison knife arts, almost every single gold chest is gonna have one of these in it. I think people underestimate poison knives because they're so common, which is what people do with most purple arts also. You will find a whole bunch of nice arts. Butchers just go for dirt cheap. There's really no point in putting it in the market. Just sell it for some items in the shop. Now, when we get to things like laser swords, I buy laser swords because, one, they're extremely overpowered and I use melee. So, but however, things like a hammer, especially a melee art that's legendary, if you are to, for instance, I mean, this is a good price for it, to be honest. Well, it's at only a 40 attrition, but you have to take into account you'll only have a 30% chance, plus however much melee skill you have currently. So when you're buying something like this, if you're maybe a level 30 and you'll be getting it 5 levels early, or if you're level 25 you're getting it 10 levels early, just know that it may not be a smart investment, because I mean, you're just going to be, you're going to have really low accuracy with it. So just keep that in mind when you're buying melee arts. Pistol arts. I also like pistol arts. This is art I've been looking at for a while. I'm actually really thinking about buying it. This is a dazzling, godly, durable deagle. Arts. A lot of pistol arts go for expensive because a lot of them are godly and do stun. Stun with a pistol is very nice. Now, a sure shot, any sure shot pistol, really, I find that to be useless. So when you're pricing your item, don't add pricing because it's sure shot, because really all you're doing is saving someone 95 end cord, and if they can afford to buy your art, they can probably afford to buy a laser pointer. So just keep that in mind. Sure shot on a pistol, any gun that you can put a laser pointer on does not increase the value. So don't think about that when you are pricing your item. Another item I've seen are guns like this, where well, this one isn't legendary, but I've seen a legendary Punisher. When you're gonna have really low accuracy, this is a good example. When you're gonna have really low accuracy with something like a gun blade, obviously for a gun blade you'd just be using the knife typically, so you're not really gonna have to worry about shooting it. But when you're doing that, 20% accuracy is not very good, and you do have 100%, but that's from right next to the person. By then you're definitely gonna be using the knife anyways. Just remember that when pricing a pistol, don't add value based on sure shot. Definitely add value for durable, godly, especially godly and stunning, or any status type damage. Shotguns. Typically, no matter how good it is, you're not going to sell a sawed-off shotgun. No matter what, if this thing is very good, 24% blind and ageless, but you are typically not going to sell a sawed-off shotgun. Your chance of selling a Vanillium 3 is kind of low, unless it's just a monster art. Where's that stun one? There's the blind one's pretty good. Yeah, unless it's something like this, where 16% stun. That's pretty good. Typically, the only shotguns that sell are some, even with a Benellium 4, it's iffy. But typically Neosteads and up because people want to use high-powered shotguns instead of just using only one shotgun above what they use or something like that. So shotguns is I would try, if you're really thinking about trying to make some serious cash instead of just the little 500s, all that kind of stuff, definitely only invest in shotguns that are 60 skill and up. Wow, there's not that many. This this one's been this art has been in the market a long time. The legendary weightless ageless one, mainly because it's so expensive. Yes, it's a good art, but 28 to 40 damage, that's basically only AK-47 damage. And if you're going to be using this at level 8, it's going to be really easy to lose something like this. So I would generally only buy something like this for about 12 to 15k. 15k if it had some status damaging items. When you're selling things such as most submachine guns, you have a good chance to sell everything besides TMPs. Typically, people aren't going to buy TMPs. People buy Uzi arts, all that kind of stuff. So you do have a good chance of selling all types of stuff. So really, there's no limits for that. Now, when it gets to assault rifle arts, you're not gonna sell. You're not gonna sell this. You're just not. You're also not gonna sell stack critical AKSUs. So, I mean, that's just something that you should just know. That you're not gonna sell. Your Colt and up is what you're gonna sell predominantly. If you're selling assault rifles, you can definitely sell you can definitely sell AUGs, you can sell AKs, and you can sell Colts. People generally don't buy SIGs because they take 5 AP, and unless they're sure shot, they're basically going to be useless. Something like this, Godly Holy Colt, that's nice. So that's a good investment. People generally do not buy army stocks because they're a dime a dozen. You get them really easily. I would just sell this for maybe 500 items in shop because no one's going to charge for it. Snipers. Snipers are interesting. You can sell all types of snipers. Generally, the most used snipers is a scout, like scout arts. However, if it doesn't have the accuracy, people aren't going to buy it. For instance, let's see, any legendaries in here? No legendaries. Artifact market's kind of low. But for instance, let's say that this Barrett was legendary stoned blessed. I mean, because of the accuracy, even at close range, people aren't going to buy it. Even if it was at 4K, people aren't going to buy it because of the accuracy. And some people actually might buy it. I mean, me personally, I would not buy it because I'd hit 1 out of every 5 shots, basically. So when you're buying something like this, if you're buying a sniper, make sure it has good accuracy. If you're selling a sniper, either underprice it or try to trade it for another art. Jungle Tigers, wow, there's a huge difference. 950, 5,000. Wow. Oh, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 5,000. Check the prices of other arts in the market, because obviously no one's going to buy that. So check the prices of other arts in the market before you put it in there, or else you're just going to end up wasting 100. Big guns. Now, when it gets to rocket launchers, Fat Boys typically are not going to sell in the market because, I mean, they're really easy to get. When you're selling Milcors in the market, Milcors generally are the most bought because they're the most used. They're used from 10 to really 40 and up because, I mean, they're just a pretty good weapon. Things like, typically when you're trying to sell something that's an RPG or up, you're going to want it to be accurate, sure shot, because or you'll just miss. I mean, I don't buy any. I did buy a big gun once, and I just sold it because I'm like, this is a waste of money. Um, it needs to be sure shot if you're really hoping to sell it, especially if you're trying to get a decent amount of money for it, because or else no one who's not a level 40 or up will really be able to use it properly. But mill cores are generally overpriced typically, but they typically have the best effects, and obviously only 5 AP to use. So if it's not sure shot or accurate, you're gonna want to be a little more lenient on the price. Something like this is definitely worth the 8K. One, it's casual and sure shot, and it's durable. So I would definitely pay 8K for this art. Um, just be something like this, casual, deadly. I really don't care about it being deadly because it's a rocket, so it's not like it's gonna hit the minimum damage, then hit the maximum damage. So I'm not really worried about the I don't really care about deadly. And the last one are LMGs, which are probably the second most used behind rocket launcher type arts. People really go crazy over stuff like miniguns, Vulcans, all that kind of stuff. To be honest, they're generally not a smart investment. Generally, when you're using things like this, if like let's say you're a level 5 or whatever, or you just don't have any skill with it, when using something like this, I mean, you're generally going to hit the minimum damage. I mean, out of the 30 shots, you'll probably only hit about 12 good shots. The other 18 will either be scratches. No, yeah, the other 18 will be scratches, or you'll be hitting minimum damage. So, all in all, it's really not worth it. Just buy a nice RPK art. Something like this would actually be more beneficial than buying a Vulcan, mainly because it's deadly, it does stun. So don't really get like fooled into buying a high level machine gun art because overall they're really not worth it because of how pricey they are. So that's what I have to say about arts in the artifact market. Hopefully this helped you a little bit, and we will see you later.